Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. It's a short lap here in Spielberg with just 10 corners, 7 to the right and 3 to the left, making up the total distance of 2.6 miles. And expect to see a lot of cars running wide today, especially through the last corner, as the wet conditions make the cars skittish through the downhill sections. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Russell, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Hülkenberg, Stroll, Albon, Gasly, Magnussen, Ocon, Joe, Théo Pourchaire, Sainz, Ricciardo and Logan Sargent. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And alongside me today, a man small in stature but big on comment, Anthony Davidson. Hello. And let's talk momentum with this driver. What a sprint it was. They start at 0 once again for today, but with a huge amount of confidence, surely. Let's look at their season, and particularly against their teammate. Fair to say they've got the better of them more often than not. Well, they'll definitely be glad that there's not a sprint race today. Let's face it, the sprint couldn't have gone much worse, but what we're looking for today is a reaction. So we're getting close to the start of the race. What will this driver be experiencing? Big nerves? Big excitement? What?
Always extra nerves at the start of the race, Gruffy. It's probably at the start of the race, it's where your heart rate's at its highest in anticipation, and you've got to be in the right mindset. You've got to be thinking there inside the car, what can go right? How can I be opportunistic rather than what can go wrong, and how do I protect my position? Look forward and stay positive. It's easy to say, very hard to do when you're in that position.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway. These are wet conditions here today. Each driver will no doubt be mindful of the wet surface as they prepare to race around the track. So as all the cars reform the grids, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring the planned strategies are all in place.
Copy that. You might experience some understeer now that you're in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as soon as possible. You're in fourth position. Russell's ahead of you now. They're on a fresh set of wets. Piastri's behind. Less than a second separates you. They're on a fresh set of wets. Okay, gap to leader, 3.2 seconds. Your pit window doesn't open for more than 20 laps. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now, everything's looking good. Rain looks like it's going to be getting much lighter over the next 10 to 15 minutes. There should be more grip, but don't expect a dry track yet. Red Bull drivers just moved into first place. It's still not a perfect situation, but I don't think we've got cause to move on to a different tyre yet. Okay, so gap to the car ahead, 2.0 seconds. work. That's a new fastest lap of the race. Okay, the car behind is dropping back. We're seeing a gap starting to form. Great manoeuvre, you made it look so easy. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. Okay, I think it might just be about time to come and change these tyres. Second place, you're in second place. Verstappen's ahead of you. They're on a fresh set of wets. Norris is behind you. They're on a fresh set of wets. Your pit window doesn't open for more than 20 laps. Tyre condition still looking good. Job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far. You're increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 a lap. Green flag. Okay, Charles, it's Verstappen ahead. Right, here we go. Let's look to get past quickly and put them on the back foot. Okay, don't worry about that target for now. We can work on a new objective later. Okay, red flag, mate. Red flag. No overtaking, please. We'll see you in the pit lane. There's been an incident on track. Right, to change our strategy for the rest of the Grand Prix if we want to. I've got some information on Alonso. They seem to have an issue. Good job, nice overtake. Okay, clear. I definitely think we need to stay on this tyre a bit longer, but there's no question the track's drying. We might be in a position to change soon. Okay, you sat in P2. Verstappen's ahead of you. They're on a fresh set of wets. Norris behind. They're on a fresh set of wets. So you know, we're getting some strange readings from a couple of the sensors. I don't think you need to be worried, just some bad data. So keep doing what you're doing. I'll let you know if we notice any genuine problems. Increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 a lap. Okay, Charles, it's Verstappen ahead. They're holding us up now, so let's please try and get past as soon as possible and get on with our race. Push, push. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. You're in second place. Verstappen's ahead of you. They're on a fresh set of wets. Norris is behind you. They're on a fresh set of wets. Pit window opens in 12 laps time. 12 laps. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 6.7 seconds. Okay, really, really good. You hit that target nicely. There's a long way to go in this race, so let's keep it clean. Okay, so this light rain is going to be with us for a while now. Okay, I reckon we could probably get away with intermediate tyres now. You're going to find it harder and harder to keep the wets cool from here, but the inters should be easier. Right, let's have you in at the end of this lap, please. Teams seem to be putting intermediates on now. Come on, let's go, and switch over if you need to. Okay, let's go now. Come on. That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting. All right, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in this strategy. Both on a two-stopper, but they've got one more stop to make. Let's get past if we can, but don't overdo it, because they'll be in soon. Both on a two-stopper here, but they still have one more stop to make. Let's see if you can get past, but don't overdo it, because they're going to be coming into the pit soon. Okay, Yuki is coming in for his stop now. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 11.1 seconds. out time to the car behind. Let's keep pushing. Russell is in the pits. Verstappen's behind. They're on a fresh set of inters. Their tyres are 3 laps old. Time last lap, 1:12.6. Weather's certainly eased off for the time being, but we've still got a lot of standing water out there. We're happy for you to stay out on the inters for now. Verstappen's just put up the fastest lap of the race so far. Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. Job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far. Gap to your teammate behind, 0.0 seconds. I think we're still on the right tyres for the time being. Verstappen behind you now. They're on old intermediates. Their tyres are 8 laps old, and the time last lap, 1 minute 13.2. Pack, that's P1, and Verstappen's behind. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on old intermediates. Pit window opens in 19 laps time. 19 laps. Okay, 41 laps to go. Okay, looks like some of those puddles are clearing. We're still definitely on the right tyre for the time being, but we're probably not a million miles away from slick conditions. Great work, that's a new fastest lap of the race. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 0.8 seconds. position, front of the pack. Verstappen behind you now. They're on old intermediates. 16 laps now until your pit window opens. 38 laps to go. Light rain will stay with us for at least 20 minutes, maybe more. Light rain is here to stay. Verstappen's behind. They're on old intermediates. Your last lap time, 1:12.2. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. Seem to be the fastest tyre for now. behind, 19.2 seconds. Okay, Charles, we're seeing a lot of tyre wear at the moment. Please try and look after them. I don't think the line is really dry enough yet to start thinking about slicks. Let's hold on to the inters for a little while longer. Okay, you're doing well out there. Keep it up. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain. 10 minutes. That's P1. Verstappen behind you now. They're on old intermediates. Your pit window will be open in 7 laps time. 29 laps to go. Afraid we didn't quite meet our targets there, but don't worry about it. Get your head down and chin up, and let's focus on the rest of this race. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 21.3 seconds. Grip is probably dropping due to wear, so don't be too aggressive. first position, front of the pack. And Verstappen's behind. Less than a second separates you. They're on old intermediates. And your pit window opens in 2 laps' time. 24 laps to go. Forecast is 5 or 10 minutes more of rain before it starts to dry up. Inters look like the best tyre for now. Still not a perfect situation, but I don't think we've got cause to move on to a different tyre yet. It looks like we're running on a dry track soon. Back to dry shortly. Okay, we're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can. Remember, box this lap. Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach and make sure you don't speed. That's P1. Verstappen behind you now. Less than a second separates you. They're on old intermediates. Your pit window's now open. Pit window is open. You've got 20 laps left until the end. take you this lap. Right, let's go, come on. Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. Good work, we're in P4. It's Perez ahead of you. They're on old intermediates. That's Hamilton behind. They're on old intermediates. The distance to the leader, 18.5 seconds. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Okay, 18 laps to go. Okay, let's try and overtake them now. Brilliant, nice move, keep going. Car behind starting to drop back. There's a gap beginning to form. Let's make the most of it. lap that we're trailing the car ahead by, 15.1 seconds. Good job, that was the fastest lap of the race so far. Yuki in the pit lane now. To your teammate behind, 30.6 seconds. Okay, gap to the car ahead, 10.0 seconds. Okay, the stewards have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online. 6.3 seconds. Great work, that's a new fastest lap of the race. Okay, you sat in P2. Lando's ahead of you now. They're on old intermediates. And Verstappen's behind. They've just entered the pits. They're on fresh mediums. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. Okay, we're into the last 10 laps now. Car behind's just boxed for mediums. Car behind on the medium tyre now. Starting to catch the car in front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good. Okay, Charles. Right, we've got some clear track in front of us, so let's make best use of it and make the next lap a quick one. You got this. Just set the fastest lap of the race so far. Great stuff. It looked like you made easy work of that target. Let's try and keep that going right through to the end of the race. Position, front of the pack. Verstappen behind you now. They're on fresh mediums. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. Okay, 7 laps to go. That's P1. And Verstappen's behind. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 5 laps old. Time last lap, 1 minute 07.6. Okay, we've been given a time penalty. It will go against our finishing time at the end of the race. Get your head down and let's get it done. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 32.1 seconds. Final lap, push, push.
go, go for Charles Leclerc as he takes the checkered flag and wins.
They had to be decisive with their overtaking today as they worked their way through the field. And those kind of race victories are so enjoyable because it's not just like winning from the front. They really had to work for it today.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.